Welcome back to The Deep Dive. We're really glad you could join us again today. Now, for those of you who've been following along, you know we've been really immersed in Shoghi Effendi's incredible work, The Advent of Divine Justice. And this deep dive is, well, it's quite special because it's the third and final part of our look at this really transformative book. So if you haven't had a chance yet to listen to part 1 and part 2, we definitely recommend going back. Catch those first. They really lay the groundwork for what we're digging into today. Our mission today is to delve into that final third of the book. We'll be analyzing its powerful message, from a Baha'i perspective, exploring the historical context, why it was written right then. We'll pull out some key passages, look at how its principles might apply maybe to your individual lives, how they can shape society, and ultimately try to grasp the profound purpose of, well, religion and spirituality as Shoghi Effendi conveyed it.
Absolutely. And this final section, it really it unveils the sheer scope of the vision Shoghi Effendi was painting. It wasn't just for the Baha'is back then, It was and is for everyone. It shows how the Baha'i writings support and really amplify these vital points for the progress of all humanity.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Moving into these later sections, Shoghi Effendi turns his attention, maybe surprisingly for some, right to the makeup of the American Baha'i community itself. We're talking 1938 here. I mean, a time of intense racial segregation, deep prejudices. How radical was his vision for diversity back then? And which specific groups did he really emphasize?
Oh, it was incredibly radical. He made it absolutely clear. He spoke of the vital and urgent necessity of ensuring the unqualified adherence of what he termed the Negro, the Indian, the Eskimo, and Jewish races. He even went so far as to say that no more laudable and meritorious service can be rendered the cause of God than a successful effort to enhance the diversity of the members of the American Baha'i community. I mean, think about that. That was a direct challenge, a profound challenge to the social norms of the day. He was saying unity and diversity wasn't just like a nice ideal, it was a requirement. Foundational.
Foundational. And it wasn't just about ticking boxes or integrating groups, was it? He uses that beautiful analogy from Abdu'l-Bahá, the garden flowers. That's more than just a pretty image, isn't it? There's a deeper meaning there. Seeing diversity not as something despite unity, but maybe as its very essence.
Exactly, you've hit it. The core insight is that diversity isn't just, a social good. Shoghi Effendi presents it as an inherent spiritual principle, absolutely essential for human perfection. Abdu'l-Bahá says, "Consider the flowers of a garden, though differing in kind, color, form, and shape. This diversity increaseth their charm and addeth unto their beauty." So the point is, real unity isn't about becoming the same. It's not about blending into like a uniform gray. It's about actively celebrating and harmonizing our distinct qualities, our different colors, all under the influence of one central agency, as he put it. It's like a spiritual alchemy, really, that reveals the beauty and glory of human perfection.
A spiritual alchemy. I like that.
And Shoghi Effendi drives this home with Abdu'l-Bahā's specific hopes. Things like causing the downtrodden race, referring to the Negro race, to become glorious and to be joined with the white race to serve the world of man. He also shone a light on the original inhabitants of America, the indigenous peoples, saying that if they are educated and properly guided through the divine teachings, they will become so enlightened that the whole earth will be illumined. It just shows how a true spiritual path has to lift up all peoples, correct those historical injustices.
And this vision, it wasn't just confined to the continental U.S., right? He specifically mentions Canada, Greenland, the Eskimos. What does that tell us about his perspective right from the get-go?
It signals a global, truly inclusive vision from the very start, no question. He also pointed to the fulfillment of prophecies concerning the Jewish people, stating, "The day of their abasement is over, his bounty will overshadow them, and this race will day by day progress, and be delivered from its age-long obscurity and degradation." It just underscores the universal reach of the faith's embrace. It's about justice and spiritual renewal for everyone.
Okay, so once that foundation of internal spiritual integrity, that call for diversity was addressed, Shoghi Effendi immediately pivots. He shifts to the external mission. He lays out this, strategic blueprint for spreading the faith, the 7-year plan. What was the immediate focus for North America in that plan?
Right. The immediate focus was what he called the vital and urgent necessity of forming Baha'i groups and assemblies, even if they were small and rudimentary, as he said. This needed to happen in those few remaining states and provinces across North America where the faith hadn't really taken root yet. the goal, to erect the structural basis of his administrative order in their cities and villages.
The administrative order.
Yeah.
That's the unique Baha'i system, right?
Right.
Elected, no clergy.
Exactly. It's that unique system of elected consultative institutions. It governs the community, but it's also seen, in a larger sense, as a kind of blueprint for a future world order based on unity and justice.
And he described this work as admittedly arduous, yet sorely needed and highly inspiring. It sounds massive, especially back then. What challenges, practically and spiritually, did he see for the people pioneering this?
Oh, he definitely didn't downplay the difficulties. He was very realistic. He acknowledged, and I quote, "The effort required is prodigious. The conditions are often unattractive and unfavorable, the workers, limited, and the resources they can command meager and inadequate." So, yeah. It highlights this immense challenge, both spiritually and logistically. It underscored that this wasn't just human effort, it needed something more. Something like superhuman effort, really relying on divine help.
Wow. Prodigious effort, meager resources. That sounds almost impossible. How did he encourage people? How did he inspire them to persevere when things look so daunting? What spiritual wellsprings could they draw on?
He countered those challenges powerfully by pointing directly to divine assurances, turning their focus away from limitations and towards God's power. He quotes Baha'u'lláh, "Should a man all alone arise in the name of Baha and put on the armor of his love, him will the Almighty cause to be victorious, though the forces of earth and heaven be arrayed against him." Powerful stuff.
Incredible.
And then Abdu'l-Bahá's words reinforce it. "Now we must not consider our ability and capacity. Nay, rather, we must fix our gaze upon the favors and bounties of God, who has made of the drop a sea and of the atom a sun." It's really a profound call, isn't it? To move beyond just relying on ourselves towards this unwavering trust in divine assistance. See service as fundamentally spiritual.
Yeah, shifting the whole perspective.
And he also specifically highlighted the role for the North American community, saying about Canada, for instance, that its future is very great, infinitely glorious. It shall become the manifestation of the favors of the all-glorious.
Mm-hmm.
So this places the work within a much bigger picture, unfolding divine plan.
Okay, so the foundation is being laid in North America. Then Shoghi Effendi immediately casts his vision further south, the next massive phase of the 7-year plan, the huge expansion into Latin America. What was the sheer scope of that?
The scope was breathtaking, really. The second phase aimed to awaken, as he put it, no less than 20 independent nations to the call of Baha'u'lláh. That's roughly 1/3 of all the world's sovereign states at the time. He called it a spiritual offensive against the powers of darkness, of corruption, and of ignorance. It was, monumental for such a young community. It required immense sacrifice and a truly global perspective.
A spiritual offensive.
And he tied it into this global shift he was observing. He noted the world contracting into a neighborhood, with the fortunes of all peoples becoming inextricably interwoven. For Shoghi Effendi, this shrinking world wasn't just about faster travel or communication. It meant our problems were shared, demanding a spiritual solution. Insularity was becoming impossible. The real insight, I think, is that our fates are now spiritually interwoven. That compels us towards a global solidarity that, only genuine spiritual unity can truly forge.
That makes sense. This Latin American push sounds like it would demand unbelievable personal sacrifice, a deep spiritual change from the people involved. Beyond the logistics, what about the inner qualities? What spiritual transformations did Shoghi Effendi say were, essential for these pioneers?
Yeah, he was very clear on that. He called on individuals to, quite literally, flee their native towns, cities, and states, forsake their country, and, crucially, putting their whole trust in God as the best provision for their journey, set their faces towards those distant climes, those virgin fields. It wasn't a casual undertaking. He stressed they absolutely had to teach their own selves first, to disencumber themselves of all attachment to this world, and to make sure their speech may attract the hearts of their hearers. It really speaks volumes about the depth of personal change needed for such a mission, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Inner transformation first.
And guiding the whole effort is this critical advice from Baha'u'lláh. "Consort with all men, O people of Baha, in a spirit of friendliness and fellowship. If you be aware of a certain truth, share it with them in a language of utmost kindliness and goodwill." And then a strong warning, "Lest ye deal unkindly with him, and beware lest they contend with anyone." So the whole approach, the purpose of religion in action here, is about attraction, building unity, kindness, not contention, not aggressive proselytizing.
Kindness and goodwill. Okay. And beyond these sort of personal spiritual prerequisites, he also gave practical guidance, right? More teachers, resources, literature, publicity. But what about women and youth? It seems like he placed special emphasis on their roles in this huge task.
He really did. He paid a remarkable tribute to the handmaidens of Baha'u'lláh, the women, noting that historically, women have evinced a greater boldness than men when enlisted in the ranks of the faith.
Interesting.
And he issued a distinct call to Baha'i youth. He acknowledged they might lack experience, but urged them to use their adventurous spirit, their vigor, alertness, and optimism. He saw them playing an active part in arousing the interest and in securing the allegiance of their fellow youth in those countries. It really underscores that this is a call to everyone. The faith aims to transform society by mobilizing all its members, harnessing everyone's unique capacities.
Everyone has a part to play.
Yes. And he even got specific geographically, mentioning the special position enjoyed by Panama because of its link between continents, and the need to reach places like Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica to forge an unbroken chain with North America. It was about building a truly connected global spiritual system.
Wow, an unbroken chain. So Shoghi Effendi sets out this monumental teaching plan, but he frames it against this backdrop of, frankly, terrifying global upheaval. He warns of events of unimaginable magnitude, ordeals more severe, conflicts more devastating. What's the connection he draws between these world crises and the growth of the faith? Is it just like happening at the same time?
Not at all just coincidence. He explicitly states that the synchronization, his word, of these world-shaking crises with the fate's unfolding task is itself the work of providence, the design of an inscrutable wisdom. He explains these simultaneous processes: rise and fall, integration and disintegration, order and chaos. They're all interconnected. They're aspects of a greater plan, one and indivisible, whose source is God, whose author is Baha'u'lláh, the theater, is the entire planet, and whose ultimate objectives are the unity of the human race and the peace of all mankind. And understanding this provides that crucial historical context for why he wrote The Advent of Divine Justice when he did. It was meant to guide the Baha'is through these incredibly turbulent times, helping them see it as part of this larger divine purpose.
Okay, so we grasp that global context, this divine plan unfolding amidst chaos. What does it mean for America's specific role? He quotes some really powerful prophecies from Abdu'l-Bahá about the nation's destiny.
He does. Abdu'l-Bahá had prophesied things like, "May this American democracy be the first nation to establish the foundation of international agreement. May it be the first nation to proclaim the unity of mankind. And may it be the first to unfurl the standard of the most great peace." He added that the American nation is equipped and empowered to do things that will adorn the pages of history, become the envy of the world, and be blessed for its triumph.
High expectations.
Indeed. And Shoghi Effendi observes that the nation, maybe even insensibly, without fully realizing it, is gravitating towards such associations and policies that line up with this destiny. He points to Abdu'l-Bahá counseling a U.S. official. "You can best serve your country if you strive, as a citizen of the world, to assist in the eventual application of the principle of federalism to the relationships now existing between the peoples and nations of the world." It shows how these core spiritual principles of the faith aren't just abstract. They're meant to directly influence policy and shape a more unified, just global society.
But he also acknowledges the immediate future looks dark and oppressive, right? With America getting swept into the vortex of world conflict. What's the ultimate outcome he foresees after that ordeal? What's the promise?
Yes, he foresaw that dark period, that involvement in conflict. But he states that America will probably emerge, consciously determined to seize its opportunity, to use its influence to tackle the huge problems left behind, and to exercise forever the greatest curse war which has afflicted and degraded the human race. Then, having been molded and purified in the crucible of a common war, America would raise its voice in the councils of the nations, help lay the cornerstone of universal peace, proclaim humanity's solidarity and unity, and assist in establishing that promised reign of righteousness on earth. It's a profound vision, connecting America's trials and destiny directly with the Baha'i revelation's purpose of achieving world peace.
It really is. This whole deep dive, all three parts, it just brings home the sheer significance Shoghi Effendi places on the Baha'i revelation itself. When we think about everything, the call for inner integrity and diversity, these audacious global plans, the way crises and destiny intertwine, what does he actually say about the unique power and station of this revelation?
He asserts its greatness, the inconceivable greatness, stating that in it, All the dispensations of the past have attained their highest, their final consummation. It's the culmination. He calls it the day known as the Day of God, the day all the prophets have wished to witness. He speaks of its regenerative power, saying, every single letter proceeding from our mouth is endowed with such regenerative power as to enable it to bring into existence a new creation. Quote, he even says, quoting Bahá'u'lláh, we are possessed of such power which, if brought to light, will transmute the most deadly of poisons into a panacea of unfailing efficacy. The power is described as immense, transformative.
Okay, the Day of God, regenerative power in every letter. That sounds almost cosmic, vast. How does that translate though to us, to our everyday efforts maybe, building community, fostering unity right where you are? What does that extraordinary power mean for you, the individual listening now, in terms of your purpose, your potential?
That really is the crux of it, isn't it? Shoghi Effendi makes that connection explicit. He declares, this is the day in which to speak. It is incumbent upon the people of Baha to strive, to guide the peoples of the world to the most great horizon. He quotes Bahá'u'lláh directly. Center your energies in the propagation of the faith of God. It becomes a personal mandate. He describes the individual Baha'i as someone recreated by his spirit, destined for a station so glorious that if its full glory were to be unveiled, every beholder would be consumed away in his longing to attain it.
Wow. So this immense power of the revelation isn't just abstract. It's meant to fundamentally transform you, the individual from within, to equip you for this world-transforming mission.
Recreated by his spirit. Exactly. And ultimately, the book conveys that individuals transformed in this way, these divine beings, as Baha'u'lláh calls them in another passage, will be raised up. People who shall aid his cause, who shall be afraid of no one, though the entire human race rise up and war against them. It's a profound call to, well, spiritual heroism, to self-sacrifice in service to this global unifying vision. It shows that the ultimate purpose of religion, in this view, is to empower ordinary people to reshape the world.
And that feels like a fitting place to wrap up our three-part deep dive into Shoghi Effendi's remarkable book, The Advent of Divine Justice. We've journeyed through the call for diversity as a spiritual necessity, the ambitious plans for global reach, how world events and divine destiny intertwine, all anchored in the transformative power of the Baha'i revelation.
Yeah, and the vision Shoghi Effendi lays out, it's really so much more than just history. It feels like a living, urgent call to action right now for every single person. It's a powerful reminder, I think, of your potential, the listener's potential, to contribute to creating that unified, peaceful world, even when the challenges seem overwhelming. So the question it leaves us with maybe is, what does it truly mean for you to heed this call, to step into your part in this unfolding story, to realize that maybe this day of God is actually today, and your actions, big or small, are part of its reality?
A powerful thought to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We really hope you found it insightful, maybe even inspiring. And just a reminder, this was the final part of our three-part series on the Advent of Divine Justice. Please do subscribe to the Baha'i On Air channel so you don't miss any future deep dives. And if you found this helpful, please share it with friends, maybe other Baha'is, anyone you think might benefit from this exploration. And definitely mark your calendars. Next week, we're embarking on another incredible journey. We'll be diving deep into another pivotal work by Shoghi Effendi, his major historical work, God Passes By. You really won't want to miss that one. Stay tuned.